What's he got up his sleeve here? There goes the blue.
Usually everyone has their own opinion on the shot of the tournament from the World Championships, but it's only here where we actually let you vote for it and help you out with that decision by recreating all of the shots as accurately as possible before trying to play them in the fewest possible attempts. It makes sense to begin with last year's champion Luca Brecel screaming in a long red and screwing the cue ball all the way back to the baulk cushion on the brink of victory in his first round match against David Gilbert. However, things didn't go so well for Luca after this, as he loses this frame and then eventually the match, getting kicked out in the first round. Things aren't really going quite so well for me either, as I'm having to play this shot with a lot of power, and that's making it difficult to pot the ball.
Got it.
However, it definitely wasn't enough power, as the cue ball hasn't come back far enough, so I've had to try again, and I don't think I could have hit this one any better.
That was definitely a good warm-up, so I think we're ready to try a Ronnie O'Sullivan shot now, and this one comes from his first round match against Ryan Day. Ronnie had already done enough in this frame to take a 2-0 lead, but gets the cannon off the brown to push one of the reds on into a potable position.
This needs to be played with a small amount of left-hand side, which at the moment is making it a little bit challenging to find the right angle, but I seem to have got it, although I'm putting far too much left-hand side on the cue ball to make the cannon with the reds. I've adjusted it a little bit, but it still wasn't enough. I've got to take a little bit more off the cue ball, and I think I've got it here and ended up in pretty good position.
Despite the fact that Judd Trump's completely snookered here, he still manages to swerve the cue ball around the green and pot this long red. This is just a good exhibition shot, but it's a really good exhibition shot.
I do have to use right hand side to swerve the cue ball over here, but I don't have to use much right hand side, and it's not that much of a swerve, so it's just a case of playing this until I find the right angle. And that actually happened a little bit quicker than I was expecting there.
At this point in the final, Kyren Wilson is already 9 frames to 4 ahead and well on his way to making a century break. However, it's just broken down a little bit, so he needs to pot this tough blue and cannon the red out by the black in order to keep the break going. Not only does he do this, but he goes on to make 125.
Unfortunately, I seem to have left my camera stabilisation on for this, and that's why the table's slowly rotating round to the right hand side here, and I can't really do anything about it because it would just look weirder. I'm also struggling to get the cannon, and even though I finally got it here, I've covered the red behind the pink. I've got it better this time though and pushed the red on into a potable position.
It looked like Jak Jones had lost by this stage, but he pulls out this excellent long red off the baulk cushion and cannons the red out of the way for the black. He then goes on to make a 96 break, and if he'd potted the next red down the cushion, maybe he would have had a chance to make a 147.
Needless to say, I'm happy to get this straight away, as the cannon definitely isn't guaranteed.
It looked like Jak Lisowski had Junhui in a lot of trouble here. The white tight in behind the pink and the red behind the yellow. But despite this, Ding manages to find the 5 cushion escape, which was crucial because had he left a free ball on here, he could have ended up losing this frame.
All I've tried to do is copy Ding's line, and it's worked out for me. I've ended up hitting it a bit hard, but that meant I got the snooker back.
Now to Ronnie O'Sullivan with this really well played exhibition shot in his first round match against Jackson Page. You need to be really accurate when you're potting the balls down the cushions from this angle.
And I'm not sure it needed it, but I'm going to be using quite a bit of right hand side on this shot just to make sure the cue ball spins off the side cushion back towards baulk, and that's made the pot a little bit difficult, but I'm pleased to get it quite quickly.
Robert Milkins was having a tough time of it in his first round match, 9 frames to 8 behind, until he found this excellent long pot that led to position on the black. He then took the frame with a 76 break and won the next as well, winning the match 10 frames to 9.
Normally potting a long red like this on the first attempt would easily be good enough, but unfortunately I didn't quite hit it hard enough and the white stayed well low of the black spot, so I have to try again. I just can't seem to be able to repeat my first shot when I'm playing it with enough speed, so I keep either coming up short or not potting the red, but eventually I should be able to get it, and that's definitely good enough.
Joe O'Connor's looking to finish off his match against Mark Selby and plays the cue ball round 2 cushions off the black here perfectly for the last red. Joe then goes on to win the frame and take the match by 10 frames to 6.
I'm using a small amount of left-hand side to help spin the cue ball around the cushions, but unfortunately there I just got into it too much on my first attempt. My second's a little bit better, and I seem to be getting down the table for the red. It's a tiny bit short, but just about on it.
This Mark Allen shot was particularly difficult to find, so thank you to everybody who helped me out with it and told me it was from his second to last frame in his match against John Higgins. Here Mark manages to pot the red off the side cushion, trying to win the match. He doesn't end up taking this frame though, and it goes 12 all after this one, and he ends up losing the match, but we'll get to that in a second.
It was probably a fluke, but I managed to get it second time, so who knows?
After taking a 62-point lead, Mark Allen missed a crucial red and left John Higgins on with no real shot other than the double. Needless to say, John got this double and then went on to win the frame and match with that break.
Without the pressure, I was expecting to get it right away, but I've missed it a couple of times here, so it just shows that it's a little bit harder than you would first think, and what an incredible shot this actually was.
To at least try to compete with that is this Stuart Bingham shot. Stuart's won the frame already here, but he simply can't get in position on the black unless he plays a double on the pink. Even so, it's a really tough shot to get the cue ball far enough round the angles to get back in position on the black, but he plays it perfectly. If it wasn't for the John Higgins shot, I'm sure this would win most of the time.
Especially after I've got it on my first attempt and realised that hitting it as hard as I could simply wasn't going to work. So I've had to put my fingers back a little bit on the cushion so I had the extra cue room to hit it harder, but this is compromising my accuracy slightly. I finally got it and round the table in a position I can pot the black, which now leaves the fairly inevitable question, which of these doubles was the cheekiest?
Stuart Bingham's shot will win most weeks. It gets 4, but only because the frame was already over, whereas John Higgins' shot obviously gets 5 and is clearly this week's winner. This Ryan Day shot was the BBC's choice for shot of the championships, and it is good. The green's really close to the corner pocket, and he cues the ball all the way back down the table. Not just down the table, but across it as well, finishing in good position on the brown.
This allowed Ryan to win a crucial frame and eventually the match. Unfortunately, my cueing isn't consistently straight enough to be able to play this shot time and time again, and I'm having to use a magic cue ball to even get far enough back to have a shot at the brown. I nearly did it that time, I just ended up straight in line with the brown down the spots, so I've had to have a go again, and I've got it back far enough this time, but it took my whole cue action.
This is just an amazing shot, isn't it?
Jak Lisowski's run out of position at a crucial time in a close match against Stuart Bingham and has to pull out this recovery shot on the yellow. Needless to say, he plays it perfectly, gets the cannon on the reds and goes on to make 123 clearance.
The less good news for Jak is he then lost the next 2 frames and obviously the match as well. I'm just struggling with this shot though to get enough right hand side on the cue ball and pot it that allow me to make the cannon, although I've got it and I've got it good.
Probably the best fluke of the tournament was this one from Stephen Maguire. He had to play the cue ball out of the jaws, what else could he do, but he got the perfect contact to get the white all the way back to bulk. Another shot I didn't really feel like I could play was this Jak Lisowski shot, as he ends up in position on the black here but wasn't really in control of it. However, a shot Jak was in control of is this next one, as he rolls the cue ball all the way up to the yellow and leaves the snooker in behind the brown. This was an incredibly well controlled shot.
On a table that almost certainly rolls a lot straighter than mine. Although I've seemed to have judged this on my first shot, I've just hit it a little bit too hard. So now I've got to judge the roll and how much the cue ball is moving to the right here, and I've got it perfect.
On to a really well cued Ronnie O'Sullivan shot now that gave him a 3-2 lead against Ryan Day. With the pockets being particularly tight this year, he would have had to been accurate with this one, and the fact that he went on to clear the table was pretty good as well.
Although my pockets are a little bit bigger, getting this one straight away is still good.
Now, who wants to see Judd Trump smash the pink into the middle pocket for no reason whatsoever? And for good measure he knocked the black in as well, so let's see if I can do that.
The frame may have been over, but at least he confused the camera operators who had absolutely no idea which pocket he was going for at this stage. Although judging from my first couple of attempts, you probably don't know which pocket I'm going for either. I didn't quite pot it cleanly enough for the cue ball to come off the jaw in the same way Judd did, but at least I've given myself a shot at the black, so can I get that first time? Well, that's pretty good then.
Jak Jones is 27 points behind in this frame and hasn't been left much of a chance on the yellow. Despite this, he manages to power it in and get in good position on the green. He then goes on to make the clearance and force a respot, but unfortunately Kyren then fluked the black.
This is a tough shot out of the jaws of the pocket when you've got to get so far down the table. It may look on my first attempt that I easily had the pace, but that was because I was overcutting it.
Before the next shot, let's just find Time Traveller from Auckland, New Zealand, which is in there. Now to an excellent 2-cushion escape from Stuart Bingham that allows him to knock the yellow in the middle pocket and secure a 4-0 lead in his first round match against Gary Wilson.
I'm expecting that hitting this one around 2 cushions isn't going to be that tough. I think the difficulty is going to be knocking it in the pocket. I'm a little bit wide there, so I can just recorrect, but I'm going to need to hit in the middle of the yellow, not on either side, to knock it in, and I'm fairly lucky to get that so soon.
Judd Trump's potting the pink into the same middle pocket again, but this time he's using backspin and left-hand side to control the cue ball across the table for the 2 reds that only pot into the opposite corner pocket.
With this pot, the speed isn't going to be as high, so I don't have to be quite as accurate, but the side and backspin confuse things a little bit. I've got it on my second attempt, but sort of played it a bit too slowly, so I wanted to play it a bit faster and get further away from the reds, and that's what I've done here.
As it's the World Championships, you can vote for the best shot using the link in the description, and I'll reveal the winner next week at some point.
Actually, I'll probably reveal the winner in the best shot of the season video. And if you want to see more shot recreation videos, have a look at these two. And remember, don't just watch, play, and make the commitment to becoming a better player by subscribing to the channel and visit the website. See you later.